Hey guys, welcome to the Dude Seriously Show. Well, we've been on the road to Infinity War for 18 weeks, and it's brought us to Avengers Infinity War. We're here live at the AMC Thoroughbred 20 in Franklin, Tennessee. We just saw Infinity War, and we're going to do a spoilers review. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Mike.
Ben, son of Odin.
Well, I was going to say Loki, son of Odin, which still works, but I'm Jared.
And we're talking Avengers Infinity War with spoilers. So, if you're not ready for spoilers or you haven't seen the film yet, you better head for the exit doors.
Front and to the rear.
We're in a theater. We had to make the joke.
Yeah.
But we're talking Infinity War. Jared, what did you think, man?
Speaking of theater doors and seeing your way out, love this movie. I'm going to give it probably an 8 out of 10. I'm going to see it a few more times, and I'll probably go up. A lot jam-packed into it. Definitely have to see it a second time to absorb all of it, to say the least. But man, just there. I think we were all hooting and hollering in the theater while we were watching it, just because it was so exciting. There was so much stuff that was jam-packed in there. It was just mind-blowing. So 2 thumbs up for me.
Okay.
Even though that was 1 thumbs up. So there we go. There's 2.
There's 2.
We're catching up.
You know, they may beat me here. I really don't know. I'm kind of, it's okay. I need to see it again. There is a lot going on in this movie. As he said, there are some moments, I mean, the whole audience was clapping. It was amazing. I don't know. After the 10 years of waiting and the build-up, I feel like I've had a more exciting reaction to other Marvel films than this. But I'm going to see it again, keep an open mind, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm falling between you guys. You know, the movie is really long, like 2.5 hours, give or take. There's just about every character in the MCU makes an appearance or is referenced. But there's so much going on, and that's great. But because there's so much going on, like, I left the movie thinking, like, I didn't see as much Captain America as I was hoping.
Yeah.
He does not have a big part.
Yeah, and while we do get a lot of great moments from characters, I don't know that anybody has a huge part in their own right. It's a very moments-driven movie.
It's a very Thanos movie.
Yeah, and that's different. That's exciting. But I'm pretty positive. I mean, I think this is in my top tier, top 5 at least. Where it's gonna fall, I need to see it a few more times.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in our Road to Infinity War, I talked about, you know, Guardians 2 or Ragnarok being 2 or 3. I've seen those movies, you know, coming up on 10, 12 times each. Just saw Infinity War for the first time, so it wouldn't be fair to say, but I know it's in my top 5 somewhere there. Mike, what'd you think?
Well, I think there was some, you know, what they did was intentional. I think you had to spread the characters, and I thought it was very evenly laid out. And what I loved about it was, as each character was introduced, the tone of their own films was very present. So when you watch Guardians, for example, you knew you were in a Guardians film as soon as they came on. Cap the same way when he makes his grand entrance. But ultimately, I think that the characters that we're talking about not getting necessarily a lot of play was because, spoiler alert, they lived. Yeah. So the idea is, I believe that with the OG characters surviving, which was not the expectation, they will have a greater role in the sequel. Whereas the new characters we assumed would live,
Yeah.
so I think that's what that is leading us to.
Yeah, it was crazy to see some of the newer characters, right? I mean, you know, we've got the White Wolf version of Bucky, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Black Panther, and so many other characters just vanish.
Yeah.
Thanos snaps his fingers, as it's, you know, foreshadowed throughout the film. He snaps his fingers, and these characters are just gone. And so that was crazy. We're left with the OG Avengers, the original 6 from the first Avengers
Doctor Strange
film.
is gone.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is gone.
Gamora's gone, but in a different way.
Yeah, we're left with Nebula. Nebula's still around, which is somebody that I thought was going to get axed.
Yeah, I really didn't expect her to make it through. But
And Rocket.
Yep.
yeah, my man.
Yeah, and
Rocket
Hawkeye
makes
and
it.
Ant-Man are still around because, well, they weren't even on the front lines for this.
We assume.
I thought they were
assume.
going to do something in those end credits scenes.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No
Well,
Ant-Man, no Hawkeye.
They did give us another hint there, though, of who's on the way.
We see the little Captain Marvel reference with Nick Fury and Agent Hill, and it was pretty funny seeing you know, Sam Jackson drop his most famous line. Sort of. He got halfway
Starts with
through.
an M.
Mother.
There's a hint.
He was talking to his mother.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. He was vanishing into the afterlife. He saw her again.
Yeah.
If
It's
he's
just
gonna
like life
go
flashes
out,
before your
I mean,
eyes.
that's the way Sam Jackson's got to go out, though.
Every time. So, you know, this movie is very moments driven, is how I would really describe it. Because even the way it seamlessly transitions from, okay, Thor's making his weapon with Rocket and Groot, and now Iron Man is on Titan with, you know, all of these other characters fighting Thanos, and now we're at the Wakanda battle, and now we're here, and now we're there. It flows very well. You know, this is probably one of the biggest ensemble movies ever.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's definitely the biggest culmination.
It's like a team movie.
Yeah.
You have the different groups in the team, and then they all kind of start coming together there.
Yeah, and that's cool. It's cool to see everybody come together, especially after all this time. You know, there's that great moment where I know that we're not really fans of the Natasha-Bruce relationship, but it was really neat to see them
Well, they
together.
addressed that,
Yeah.
saying that it was awkward.
It was not overkill at all.
But they've
Yeah.
gone through so much. I mean,
Yep.
they look different, they act different, and like it's almost like when they look at each other, it's like, yeah, I had feelings for you, but it's like we're not the
There's
same
bigger
people as
things.
we were.
Yeah, they're not the same people, and there's bigger things they got to worry about or
Right.
Yeah.
look at right now.
Yeah.
I appreciate some of the newer teams that they actually put together.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite, I was laughing at him all night long watching the movie because my favorite thing of the whole freaking movie was Thor and Rocket pairing up.
Yes.
It's so freaking funny.
Rabbit.
And yeah, there's just so many good moments with
Thor
them. But then,
understands Groot.
yeah,
It's
and
great.
you get
Well, it was an elective in high school.
yeah. Oh, no, that's gone.
And he never corrects him. Rocket
Yeah.
never corrects him, whereas he always is irritated
Yeah.
by everybody else calling him something that
It's
he's
that
not.
instant bond.
Yeah, he's like, Rabbit, I'm
Which
going
you
with
called that, though. I remember before we saw it.
I said I thought that it would be really neat when Rocket, Groot, and Thor kind of go off and do their own thing, because we saw it from promotional things,
Yeah.
the Lego set, right? We knew that was going to happen. I thought it would be really neat for Thor to see Rocket and not think anything different of him, because
Yeah.
Thor's seen it all. I mean, in his last film appearance, his best friend was a walking rock creature. So, I mean, like, it's not that weird for his
No.
new best friend to be a talking raccoon.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Just a new friend from work now.
yeah,
A
exactly.
tree and a raccoon, new best friends.
He's a friend from the zoo.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool seeing those sub teams come together.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a fun way to keep the MCU fresh after this, because okay, everybody's come together now, you know.
Yeah.
So, well, not everybody, because Stark and Cap don't get their reunion in this movie,
Yeah.
you know. So they almost have a phone call. But that
Did
gets
you notice how they
disrupted.
paired a lot of the same people together that kind of, not necessarily, but almost have the same mentalities? Star-Lord, Stark, Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And
All,
Spider-Man, he's
all are leaders of teams, quote unquote, but all have a mentality of like they know what to do is best, and then all have a pompous attitude
And
about
that
them.
wit, that wit to it.
Very
But then you also
snarky.
have the characters that kind of dial that down, dial that down, like Peter Parker and Mantis and Drax, just to kind of level it out. So God bless, they did a great job.
Quote Thanos, perfectly balanced.
Yes,
as all
exactly.
things
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. But then, too, talking about the other teams, you know, the new Team Cap, if you will, the Secret Avengers, we've got Cap, we've got Widow, we've got Falcon, you know, all kind of funny and quippy in their own right at certain moments, but a very serious team, a
Yeah.
very spy-driven team.
The professionals.
yeah.
Speaking on Mike's entrance, everybody has their own entrance, and you can see their own theme when all the teams are introduced. I guess Caps is like coming out of the shadow.
Yeah.
Like that's all I can remember him doing.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
was.
he's in the dark and he's in the light.
Yeah.
He's
He
in the dark
catches that
and he's in the light. It's just it's very very cool
Oh
moment.
yeah, fantastic. It's symbolism, right? I mean, they're
Yeah.
the Secret Avengers. They've been living in the dark for 2 years,
Yep.
and they step out into the light because
Yep.
they've been called to. That the world needs to know they're around,
Yeah.
and be aware of their presence once again.
And you can see that teamwork has not been lost at all.
no.
And it's probably even stronger than it ever has been, just because they've had to spend all that time together.
I enjoyed
So-
seeing how they put all the bad things that had happened in the past. It's like, okay, we can move beyond that
Yeah.
because there are bigger and more important things to worry about. And, you know, it's done well, I think.
Yep.
Unless you're Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The Secret
Screw that
Avengers.
guy.
Trust
He
me
had some
immediately.
attitude.
So we're talking about Thunderbolt Ross, unexpected appearance in the film, but maybe an even bigger unexpected appearance is Red Skull.
Yeah, that was
Golly.
a big shock.
The biggest shock of all.
Yes, no kidding.
Biggest
That
shock.
was nowhere.
Absolutely insane.
Nobody had an idea.
I
Like,
always
we had
heard theories that these
Yeah.
villains had never really died, and they would.
Yeah,
all
we
show
talked
up,
about it.
and he did. He
that
was
we
there.
thought that the Tesseract might have transported him to a different realm or
Yep.
something.
And that
And it
just
did.
gives credence to future appearances for other characters who have encountered Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Namely like Ronan, Ultron, things like that. They could totally come back now.
Yeah.
Could totally.
Ah,
Red
Oh,
Skull.
well, I hope some people come back because otherwise,
Yeah.
dead as a doornail over here.
A lot of death.
Pretty crazy to think too that new characters faded away when Thanos snaps with the gauntlet, but when you think about it, Spider-Man, Black Panther,
We all know.
some of these huge characters that
Yeah.
are like changing, box office and culture, like just vanished. So really a risky move for Marvel, but
I know what's going to happen.
they're probably going to come back.
Well,
The way
I
it
don't
was
even know- I
done-
don't think there's a probably. They will come back.
Yeah.
It's, it's written in the comics. It's written obviously in the paychecks that Disney definitely does not want to say no to.
Yeah.
We know there's contracts. The unfortunate thing about living in the world we live in today with social media and the ability to tap into so much information is that we kind of have things ruined only because we know the reality of the system. Growing up years ago, you had no idea. It was all rumors and conjecture, and who knows if somebody will come back. But now we have a lot of safe bets.
Yeah.
Although tonight, I love the fact that all the safe bets we thought we had were off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the way it was done, you didn't know who was gonna die.
No.
Like you
You
knew
did not.
something happened, and then it slowly transitions.
Yeah,
and you're in
I'd say one of the
Suspense.
most tense moments is, Gamora earlier in the film pulls Star-Lord aside and says, I know something
Yes.
that Thanos doesn't know. If he tries to extract that from me, you have to kill me. And
Yeah.
that moment where Star-Lord has his gun and he's pointing the gun at Gamora and has to make that decision if he's going to do it or not. And he takes him a minute to come to grips, but he does. And then Thanos had the reality, shift with the reality stone
Altered
and
it.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you think
and I
the
thought
collector's dead?
I don't think we'll see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of made a joke out of his character. I loved him in Guardians, but he was kind of like, creepy flamboyant in Guardians. In
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
he was just like flamboyant, like crazy. But I mean, he's such a minor character.
And it's weird because we're gonna see Benicio and Brolin in a few months in Sicario too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they'll be back together there.
I bet you the post-credit scene for Sicario 2 will just be that it was the reality stone the whole time. Stick around, folks. And
We'll
gonna
review that one.
Yeah, we're going to review that one.
Well, and speaking of pairings, we talked about team ups. Think about also the fact that the entire film is chaptered, it has in chapter sections of people having to decide what they're going to do with the person they love.
Yeah.
Every one of them has to make that decision.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel monotonous, which I appreciated because it could have easily become one of those situations where you're watching a George Lucas film and everybody loses their daddy or their mommy. And you're like, okay, seriously, we're going to keep revisiting this. But instead, every one of them, from Scarlet Witch to obviously the choice she makes with Vision, the fact that Thanos has to make a decision with Gamora, that Star-Lord makes a decision with Gamora, with
Tony Stark and Pepper.
Thank you. Yeah. Exactly. Each one of them making a decision. So
You're squeaking up a storm.
I'm squeaking up a storm. I don't know what's going on.
That chair's exciting.
I know it's really going crazy here. So, and we're 1-2. No, and 3-2. No. So anyway, I think that pattern was really unique.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that we've seen that in films before.
Yeah.
But it was as though they were bringing every story that they have written over the last 10 years to an end. Mm-hmm. And then creating a new beginning each time you flipped a new page on the chapter.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like even those bookends, like when you think it's going to be bookended, it's not. When Scarlet Witch is holding off Thanos with one hand
Yes.
and extracting the stone from Vision's forehead with the other hand, she gets the stone out and destroys it, but then Thanos, you think that's going to be the end. And then
No.
Thanos just reverses
Yeah, the
time,
time
snaps
stone,
it.
yeah.
You called it.
Yeah, I was like,
He
no,
said
he's
it.
got
I
the
was
time stone, man.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
going to
exactly.
reverse the crap out of that.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes before Rocket pulled out the eye, I literally leaned over to him. I was like, Rocket stole that eye from that guy. Do you think that might be because of the situation we talked about with Pop Figure before? But nothing had ever been confirmed. And then sure enough, 5 minutes later, I'm like, well, there's the eye.
Yeah, because you and I have talked a lot about the toys. Some of the toys have the eye patch, some of them don't. And so what happens a lot of times with these movies is in pre-production,
Yeah.
right? The toys makers get concept art.
Yeah.
And so maybe the concept art was based on the eye patch, maybe it wasn't. So
Right.
the toys are very all over the place whether they have the eye patch or not. So in this movie, Thor gets an eye back. And what was fun about that too is that was a callback to 4 years ago, like a minor
Right.
scene 4 years
Wow.
ago.
Right.
And Rocket just
Yeah.
kept that
Those
eye
little
on him all this
things.
time.
It's funny how time passes like that.
Yeah. Yep. If he needs a toe, someday, maybe from Guardians 2. Or another
never
pair of
know.
underwear or something,
And he's trying to get Bucky's arm in that
leg,
final battle.
Yep.
Thor, holy crap.
In that final battle,
God bless.
win.
Yeah.
I don't even have to say anything. They'll do it for me.
No,
Yes,
you don't even have to endorse yourself, man.
Yeah, Thor
he
had
was
beyond a
wrecking
moment.
it.
He just absolutely destroyed everything. I mean, it was more powerful than we've ever seen, but I think, again, it harkens back to Ragnarok when
Yeah.
Odin says, you do not derive your power from the hammer.
Yeah.
You are the power. So then he knows this, and then he gets a new hammer.
Which is the ultimate weapon.
Yes.
I mean,
Good
that
gracious.
thing is a monster.
So-
I want one.
I did not know what to expect. Obviously, we knew Stormbreaker was going to be something epic.
Yeah.
I don't think we expected it to be on that
Oh, my
kind of
goodness.
grand of a scale.
I didn't
No.
know what to expect.
Yeah.
I
It
just knew
was-
it was a vital part of the story, listening to the Russo brothers. And I had read a tweet where someone said, he's your MVP,
Yeah.
that
Yes,
character. And
absolutely.
it's like, yeah, I mean,
The mere fact that he was able to throw it
Yes.
through whatever power stream you want to call it that Thanos is shooting at Thor at the end. I expected the hammer to break apart, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I did
it
too.
is
But-
Groot, by the way, that supplies the handle.
Yeah.
A lot of debate over that.
Yes.
It's
So
true.
that man, just from the beginning. I mean, if you saw Ragnarok and you saw our review, we didn't really touch on the post-credit scenes, but where Thanos' ship pops up at the end, you obviously knew something was going to go down, and you knew it was because Loki had theoretically stolen the Tesseract. Well, fast forward a little bit to where they're headed to the place to make Stormbreaker. You really see where it has just broken Thor. Not completely, because his will is there, and you can see how strong it is when
It's
he
a touching
literally.
moment
Yeah, it
to realize
is.
that
It
he
is.
has
Good
nothing
Pretty
gracious.
much
but-
lost everything he knows.
Yeah, you don't
now.
see it. I can't remember a moment where I see the guy break down that much. But God bless
He's
if you
been
think
through
about
a
it.
lot.
I thought that was great that they used Rocket, the guy who was traditionally we don't expect to have a very emotional,
Yeah.
any kind of emotion really, except he's always about himself,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because it's because of who he is and the trauma. But he's really extracting information from Thor by just asking questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you
Simple
wonder
questions.
if the death of Yondo and the bond that they had formed right at the end really had an impact on him, and now he's starting to kind of like he wasn't as much of
Right.
a dick as he was in past movies. Like he was,
Yeah.
of course, throwing at Star-Lord like, well, here's your captain kind of thing, but it wasn't like they were bumping heads and all that. But yeah, I thought that was a wonderful,
Yeah, and
empathetic way for Rocket to take it.
I agree, and I'm curious what he means by time to be the captain.
Time to
Who
be the captain.
who has he been watching that he's now emulating to say time to be the captain, time to go treat my crew the right way,
Yeah.
and build a relationship with?
Yeah.
Is it a nice dig towards Star-Lord that in fact this guy has bonded them?
Yeah.
And he actually is a good captain. I'm just not going to say it. In his
Yeah.
I felt like he knew it was his time. He had to step up.
Yeah.
And he was needed.
Right.
And going back to your point on him connecting with Thor and really caring about somebody, Groot, starting off in this movie, all he cares about is his phone. Just like
Right.
the rest of
Yeah.
society for the most part
Right,
now.
he's playing his video
And
games.
when he sees, okay, Thor needs that Stormbreaker
Yes.
weapon or he's going to die,
Yes.
he puts down the phone and it's, okay, I'm going to lend myself to the cause. Growing moment for him as well.
Yeah.
You could even say that it's even part of that whole new group that's formed. Obviously, Thor and Rocket hit it off, and then the mere fact of Thor knowing how to speak Grootish. I don't even.
Yeah,
I forget
Grootish.
what the technical race is called.
Groot.
Yeah, but like
I
you
am
could
so
tell,
wrong.
like he's in that adolescent phase where he doesn't want to care, but at the end of the day, like you said, he cut off his own arm to form the
Yeah.
hammer on Stormbreaker to help him out.
Yeah.
So obviously, whether it's through his relationship that he had formed with Rocket, or the fact that Thor actually paid attention and cared about Groot enough to actually have a conversation with him, it formed another bond.
Yeah.
Totally. It was a great, powerful moment, those three and that weapon, I thought.
And I think that really just sums up the movie. It's a movie full of powerful moments.
Yes.
There's funny moments that are going to stick out. I mean, I could literally see
Yeah.
the memes being made as the film
Oh
was
my
playing.
goodness, yes.
There's funny moments, there's tragic moments, there's epic moments, there's sad moments.
Literally, everything.
Yeah, just like I said at the beginning, it's just a movie of moments. You know, you go back and you look at the other two Avengers films. Those feel like stories, you know, and yes, this is a big story, but it's so big, it's like you're watching like 3 or 4 movies rolled into one.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's like 3 or 4 really big moments rolled into one epic film that culminates the MCU.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just kind of wrapping up, Infinity War, I mean, it's been 10 years in the making. It's been exciting. We know that Avengers 4 is going to wrap up this story because in the credits we see that it says Thanos will return, which is something I've predicted for a long time now.
Kind of thought he was going to die there just for a second.
Yeah. But he's too big. He's going to be in the next one to some capacity.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I just think that Infinity War, we've been building toward it for 10 years. It was fun. And Avengers 3 and 4 were filmed simultaneously,
Right.
so we know that these stories are interlocked. And so I think that walking out of this movie, any issue that you have with it, anything unresolved, I just feel like it's too early to write it off and say, you know, like, oh, you know,
No,
whatever.
this is-
We have watched half of an installment in
Yes.
the MCU, and we've got to wait for part 4 to see how everything wraps up. But Infinity War on its own, I give it 2 thumbs up. It's definitely in my top 5.
It's definitely 2 thumbs up for me as well. I feel like it's probably a fair statement to say, and you can disagree with this if you want, but it feels like a new beginning because of how many moments were in there. And obviously they've got a long road ahead of them, but boy am I, like, we talked about superhero fatigue a little bit. I'm refreshed.
Yeah.
I really am. It's going to take, I would definitely give the advice to go see it a few times because there are a lot of moments in it to absorb, but I think you'll have an enjoyable time every time you see it.
Yeah. It's a great point. I'm just going to reserve judgment for now on the thumbs up or thumbs down. Definitely more in the thumbs up direction, but I need to see it again. I need to process more and analyze things, and we'll see.
2 thumbs up, if for nothing else. I appreciate the complexity and the size of such an a overwhelming undertaking that they had to build this story. So it did not feel heavy in the sense that it was trying to carry too many things at too many times. Only did I feel ever so slightly worn out by it. You know, maybe a little lag. But for the most part, the pacing was unbelievable. I did not realize I'd been there for that long, and I honestly could have sat through the sequel without any reservation whatsoever. Any reservation whatsoever.
When Avengers 4 comes out, it'll be awesome to marathon these back to back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
But until then, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp in July. And
Are you
then
excited
Captain
about
Marvel.
that?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for Ant-Man. Yeah. So we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp in July, and then Captain Marvel next spring, and then Avengers 4 basically a year from now. Maybe they'll move it up again. That would be awesome. But in any case, that's going to bring us to a wrap on our Avengers Infinity War review. So guys, this movie was just epic in scale. It was huge. It was awesome. I think it's safe to say that you at least have to go see it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know how you could hate this movie.
No.
I can see how maybe it's not your favorite because it's so big, there's so many characters, but it's awesome.
You will appreciate it.
Yeah,
You'll
you really
appreciate
will.
it. That's the best way to put it. So let us know in the comments below what you thought of Avengers Infinity War, and if you have any predictions for Avengers 4, because there's some huge predictions that can be made.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to seeing what you thought in the comments below, and until next time, dude, seriously.